Hey everybody. I thought maybe we'd do a fun music post video today. Um, I want to talk about this thing. A lot of times people see maybe my music posts of the recording desk or some of the guitars around here, or if they come over to my house, they see this. And a lot of people ask me, what is this thing? What is this weird keyboard? So, what it is a Magnus chord organ. These were made, chord organs were made by a lot of different companies. Uh, Mostly in the 60s, they were really popular as kind of a my first instrument type of home, uh, almost toy sometimes. A lot of times they were made by toy manufacturers. Um, and you can find them, different companies made them. I've seen SD and M&E and I think GE might have made a couple, and then there were some nicer ones made by companies like Hohner, that makes accordions and harmonicas, and a couple of Italian makers made some really snazzed out ones. But Magnus is the one you'll most commonly find here in the United States, and you can find them in a lot of different types of form factors. Usually they're made to just kind of sit on a tabletop. This one, we put some legs on it. Sometimes they had legs, sometimes they didn't. Sometimes they were bigger, smaller. I've seen them. My brother has one that has two full sets of keys, but what it really is just two of these stuck together. So what it is it's an organ. It's an electric organ, but not an electronic organ. And what I mean by that is, hey, Hambone. What I mean by that is it plugs into the wall and gets power, but the only thing that the power actually runs is just a fan. There's a little fan down in the bottom of it. And if I turn it on, you can probably hear it on the phone audio there. Kind of comes on with a hum, and then the fan starts blowing, and it kind of makes a kind of sound. Um, but it's kind of neat. So that fan blows up through this manifold that spreads out the air, and that goes over a set of reeds, like a big ass harmonica, basically. Or as I like to call this thing, the accordion for lazy people. So over here on the right hand side, it's got just a regular set of keys, like a keyboard. Now, that sounded pretty good, but I'm not by any means a keys player, so bear with me there. But so that you have your keys on the right hand side, and then on the left hand side you have all these buttons. And what these buttons do is, with one button, you can play a full chord. So, like, and it has the minors underneath it. Now this doesn't have all the chords, obviously. It's only got 6 per major per minor. It goes from B flat to A on this particular one. Like I said, you can find them. Sometimes they won't have minors. Sometimes they'll have more. Sometimes they'll have sevenths and all kind of different stuff on them. But this is a pretty common one. And so the idea is that you play this hand. It has kind of a cool sound. These go really well with acoustic guitars. If you got a couple buddies and with their acoustic guitars, and you get one of these things, and you guys can have a good old jam. You put a fedora on and a pair of wingtips and pretend you're a Mumford & Son. It'll do that thing. So they can be a little bit difficult to record sometimes. Because of the hum, the noise they make, the keys are kind of plasticky and clicky. If I just turn this thing off, you can hear just like the click sound itself can be kind of loud. But they're fun. Fun to play. This one came from a thrift store. It was like $15. So these things were super popular back in the 60s in particular. It's kind of the crappy Casio keyboard of its day. When I was a kid in the 80s, everybody had those cheap, junky Casio keyboards, with the bossa nova beats and the beep boop sounds. This is kind of like that, but in the 60s. I have a real soft spot for these things. I have another one. This is, they said, differently made. It's a little slimmer, so it's a little more portable. It's not quite as loud because it doesn't have the resonance of having a little bit bigger cabinet. But this one has more chords. I think this one's from the 70s. And I primarily say that because it looks like it's Atari. It's got this nice faux wood panel. And it actually has the fake wood grain on the black keys too. For all the style and grace of a 1974 Chrysler Town and Country. This one has a volume control that doesn't really do much. It's just, it slides a piece of plastic in front of some of the holes to make it a little quieter. It really just kind of sounds like you put a blanket on top of it or a towel or something. But it does have more chords. This one has majors and minors, and it extends the range to E flat to E, so you can get a little bit more stuff out of it. But it sounds a little different than the other one, but it's the same idea. I mean, it's right. So the real problem you'll run into with these though is, especially the cheaper ones like these, the Magnus ones in particular, is they're made out of plastic. So the reeds are plastic, and over time, the reeds become brittle and they don't flex the same, and so it causes the pitch to go up a lot of times. So this one is a little more in tune, but if I turn them both on, you can see how far out they are from each other. So, like, let's just play a C, right? And then this one, they're not quite there. It's really noticeable on the higher keys. You get that beat kind of thing going on. Wah, 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 wah. But if you know what you're doing, if maybe you can retune your guitar a little bit to play along with them, they can be fun. So you can probably find one at a thrift store. Like I said, I think I paid $15 for this one, and probably about the same for that one. You see them on Craigslist sometimes. You see them, eBay and stuff like that. But get yourself a chord organ, and you'll be the raddest kid in your youth group.